Hello, everybody. How are y'all doing today? Okay, so, I was earlier, about a day or two ago, um, I was trying to figure out why the comments on every single one of my videos keeps getting turned off for no freaking reason. And I figured, I figured out I'm so embarrassed right now. I can't. I'm so embarrassed right now, bro. Because I know it's kind of, my fault. Actually, kind of my butt. It was all my fault. So, so I was looking into why the comments keep getting turned off. And there's these settings in YouTube where you can hold all comments. And at first I thought, every single comment out there will be available on my channel. But I did a bit more research and I found out that the actual definition behind hide and hold all comments means that every single comment will be analyzed for like 60 days, which means it won't be up on my channel. So I switched it to don't hold any comments, and I looked that up too, and it turns out that means that there'll be potentially inappropriate comments on my channel. But I don't really care about any hate comments, to be honest. I mean, hate comments are pretty new. I mean, not pretty new. I mean, they're normal for every new content creator like myself faces them. So I won't take it too personally. In fact, that's kind of the very first thing that my mom and Miss G were worried about when I told them I was gonna start a channel. Because they were afraid that I was going to get offended by a bunch of hate comments. So, I won't take those too personally. And, yeah, so I switched it to don't hold any comments, and hopefully that will work. Even if I don't get any comments, at least they'll be turned on. So that there'll be potentially some comments later on. But I'm still kind of nervous if it's actually going to work. I mean, if the research is correct, there won't be any comments held, which means that all comments will be officially submitted to my channel just like that. But like I said, I'm a bit nervous, so hopefully after this video I will see that the comments have been turned on, and hopefully that will fix the issue. And I wonder if that means that the comments are automatically turned off for any of my previous videos as well. But I haven't really checked yet, so maybe I'll probably check after this video. But for now, I've been thinking about telling you guys another story today. This time about Error Sans, which Error is probably one of the most famous villains in all the Undertale wiki, other than Nightmare, of course. He's probably even more popular than Nightmare, to be honest with you. Like, he's been in every single comment and every comic and every single animation and every single discussion I've ever been in. And, so yeah, I've been thinking about reading about him in the wiki. So, his story is probably the easiest for me to understand because I kind of, there was a comic about the story of Error for one thing. I watched the whole thing through, and I also read the wiki once, and the story did make sense, but like I said, like with the other stories, I'm going to try to read as slowly as I can so that y'all can understand what I'm saying, and from time to time, I will once again stop and comment and commentate on what I've just read. So, yeah. Error's a pretty cool character, actually. So, yeah, I'm gonna start reading now. Error Sans is a Sans air variant created by Lovero Piggies, aka Crayon Queen. Don't know why she goes by 2 different usernames, but okay. Originally a version of Geno after Genocide, he fell into a dimension between universes and became glitched beyond repair. He now dedicates his life to cleanse the multiverse of anomalies, even if it means destroying all of the AUs and outcodes in existence. Because of this, he's often known as the Multiversal Destroyer. Or the Destroyer of AUs, as you guys probably know him. Biography. Error is a version of Aftertale Sans, aka Geno, that messes around with dangerous determination magic, even with the warnings from Sans. He eventually accidentally sends himself to the Anti-Void, to which, in his final moments of sanity, he's furious that even though he got his happy ending, this had to happen. Geno lost his sanity to hating everyone, and hating everyone and anyone except for himself, which is why Error is so hateful and calls everyone glitches or abominations. Okay, so basically, Geno, which I might read his story too if I have enough time in this video, messed around with determination magic for too long, and then he found himself in the Anti-Void, and he became all glitched and distorted like this. Profile. Appearance. In the present, Error is a black, glitchy skeleton with a color palette mainly consisting of dark reds/reds, dark blues, yellow/regular blues, yellows, oranges, and blacks, with his entire torso being black while his legs are red. His metacarpals are black, while his proximal phalanges are red, and his middle and distal phalanges are yellow. Wait, what does he mean by all this phalange nonsense? Is he talking about his eyes? Yeah. Proximal phalanges are red, and his middle and distal are yellow, and the distal phalanges are yellow. What? What the heck is a phalange? Yeah, let me look this up real quick. What is a symbol? Phalanges. Oh, the bone at the base of a finger or toe. Oh, so it's talking about his hands. That makes sense. Yeah, because his hands, they're like different colors. Oh, and he is made of bone, so I guess this makes sense. I don't think I've heard the wiki use more complicated words before. I mean, I have, but never this complicated. Get into a little anatomy here. You guys probably know what phalanges are if you've been to anatomy class, but don't judge me, I'm a noob. Okay, so back to the reading. He has yellow teeth and 2 unsymmetrical eyes with completely red scleras. Gosh darn it, I'm stupid. Scleras, one, and a small yellow pupil, and the other is a circle with yellow, blue, and black. He usually needs to wear red around glasses because of his eyes being messed up from when he was Geno, but refuses to wear them sometimes. His most signature feature was the light blue tear-like markings coming from his eyes to his chin. I mean, I did see him wear red glasses in a few animations because when the glitch, his eyes are kind of glitchy, so he often has trouble seeing properly. He wears a parka coat with pieces with blue gradients stitched together on the sleeves with yellow pockets. Underneath he wears a red shirt, which is possibly a sweater. He wears wide black pants, which are uneven and unmatched at the bottom with red stripes. The left has a blue gradient and is stitched together. The right appears to possibly be a cuff of blue stitched to the pants. He has a long blue scarf and mismatched black sandals. Apparently, he steals clothes and sews them together to make his outfits. Being highly glitched, he has a white error word all around him, with some minor glitching included. I mean, I didn't really notice a lot of glitching. I mean, in the picture here in the wiki, he appears to be glitching, which I like that. I like that effect, but he doesn't usually appear like that in some of the animations. He actually appears pretty normal. Personality. He always seems to be grumpy, but he has a selfish and sort of playful personality and thinks he's helping out the multiverse. He steals things, raids, and destroys AUs. He loves to play jokes and makes smarky teases at his enemies. Canonically, he doesn't get mad until things don't go his way, how he expected it to happen, or when others trigger one of his fears. And also, he has a lot of hatred toward non-canon materials regarding Undertale, the ones that slightly deviate from the original annoys him the most. This makes him, as the creator best put it, a literal mad baby. It should note that due to his emotional instability, he's completely incapable of love or compassion. Abilities. Error Blaster. He uses a type of Gaster Blaster called an Error Blaster, which are apparently Gaster Blasters that are black in color and have blue tear markings falling from their red eye sockets. Error's Gaster Blaster is bigger, faster, and stronger than Classic Sans's. Blue Strings. He uses blue strings from his tear ducts to tie up and shatter souls. If his strings go inside a victim, he can transfer a soul into the victim's body, making his body vanish and the victim's soul to vanish, turning the victim into him. This makes him able to control the victim, while the victim is helpless. This is Error's main weapon, because Error feels more comfortable with the strings, as Error doesn't have very good eyesight. Glitch Hop. He can glitch himself and others into other AUs as the main means of multiversal transport, due to him being an error. Relationships. Swamp Sands, aka Blueberry/Blue Error. Bluebear. At one point, Error captured a Sans from Underswamp, whose eccentric personality and kind pacifism conflicts with his merciless and snarky attitude. Blue, however, is not naive from this and is well aware that Error acts like a selfish prick. Instead of getting angry at him, though, he simply sends him the same mercy as he does for everyone else. He even goes as far as to touch him, which triggers his phobia and causes Error to crash. The anti-void seems to have also had an effect on Swamp Sands, which eventually warped him into another glitched skeleton. Yeah, I noticed in quite a few animations, a lot of people seem to ship Error and Blue a lot in a few animations. And I like Blue also. I might read his story in another vlog because he's another favorite character of mine. Alright, moving on. Core Frisk. Despite their friendliness towards him, to the point that they save him from deletion, he's still convinced that they're just another anomaly needed to be deleted. He also plans to destroy their Omega timeline as well, if he managed to find it. Error Undine, one of his many nemesis. She bent after his tail out of the belief that he killed her Alphys. Fatal Error. When Error attempted to destroy his non-corrupted counterpart, another Genosans, he accidentally created a new outcode that shares many of his abilities. They've been enemies ever since. Ink Sans. Though they have no canon relationship, he's often been depicted with the self-proclaimed protector of the multiverse. It was due to their conflicting views on the multiverse itself that they're often at odds with each other. Ink claimed that the multiverse is perfect the way it is, while Error views it as an abomination. Error 404 Sans. A mentor/teacher for Error created by Shad Cal 15, though this is not canonical into Error Terra. Error isn't too clouded by the fact that 404 is his mentor. The two had their share of bad moments, but although they have much distaste for each other, when the time is right, they end up having each other's backs. 404 considers Error as his closest ally and maybe even his friend. Kane Multiverse Sans. Error hates and despises Kane-M, who is also created by Shad Cal 15, though this is not canonical to Error Tale. After bowing down to him and creating a special soul bond owing his life to him, that made Error hate Kane-M more than ever. Error and Kane-M had been at some blows, but Error always loses. However, Error only sees Kane-M as a minor setback and doesn't let him get in the way of destroying the AUs behind the Kane's back. Okay, and that was Error Sans. Like I said, I think he's a pretty interesting character. He's actually kind of one of my favorites. And while we're on the topic of Error, let's go over Geno's story. Yeah, Geno is another favorite character of mine, and he's also pretty popular in some animations. And there you go. Afterlife Sans, otherwise known as Geno, is an OC created by Lily, so basically Crown Queen. Geno is a Sans from a genocide route timeline who injected himself with determination from Alphys' true lab in an attempt to control the timeline, instead getting stuck at the save screen alongside Frisk. He is now able to restore memories of people who forgot due to resets, which he often God bless the United States of America. Right. And Sans. He's a main supporting role in the Afterlife Tale comic, which is now completed. Okay. So he's able to get in save screens and restore people's memories after they've been reset, apparently. Okay. Story. Afterlife Geno is a Sans who is able to leave a genocide timeline, escaping to the save screen. Calling himself Geno due to him no longer feeling he deserves to be called Sans. He is stuck at the save screen with Frisk due to his mortal wound. Geno wants to completely destroy the universe, seeing it as the only way to end Papyrus's repeated deaths. But as he cannot leave the save screen due to his minimal HP, he tries to get the other Sans to do it. If they continually disagree, then he will erase his mind and will start over again. During the events of Aftertale, he stopped doing this so that the current Sans will remember all the resets and genocide routes in the previous timelines and hopes to get him on his side. Geno survived the genocide timeline by injecting himself with determination, and before dusting away due to Frisk's attack, he escapes outside the timeline to the save screen, where he resides. His mission is to destroy his timeline by stopping Chara and erase the universe. However, he cannot do it himself because, if he leaves, he dies and Chara will still be in control. So, he tries to convince Sans to bring Chara to the save screen to get them out of the way. He will then attack them until they fall into a coma and then teleport out of the save screen to end that timeline because he will then be the one with the most determination and therefore have control over the timeline. Okay, so basically he wants the classic Sans, the original Sans, to destroy the timeline so that Papyrus won't die a bunch of times, is basically the summary of that whole thing. And apparently monsters who have the most determination control the entire timeline, according to what that thing said. Which I guess that makes sense, because determination's kind of the highest power. Personality. Geno is very manipulative, and will continue to manipulate Sans to gain his trust after erasing his mind over and over until he finally gets his way. He blames both Chara and Frisk for the genocide runs and calls them his murderer. He is desperate to convince the current Sans to follow his plan, even if he has to use force. He is also very sensitive about Papyrus and will not let anyone touch his scarf. When Sans brings Papyrus with him on his visit to the save screen, Geno becomes furious. While he can be quite violent, he still has a sense of humor, and his first reaction to seeing Sans is to make puns. Geno's personality changes seem to be due to him not having a full soul, making him violent. Appearance. Like the original Sans, Geno has an unzipped hoodie jacket with the white shirt underneath, along with short pants and fluffy slippers. However, he has some differences to classic Sans. Geno's jacket and slipper are completely white. He has a huge bloody gash that he got after being hit in the genocide run, along with blood coming from his mouth, and some having dripped onto his slippers. He wears his timeline's Papyrus' scarf, which he is very protective of, treated it as if it was really Papyrus. Also, he wasn't supposed to be able to enter the save screen. Because he wasn't supposed to be able to enter the save screen, he is seen with white glitchy particles around him, one of which is covering his right eye socket, which he can control. Due to having injected determination into himself, Geno Sans placed those particles there on purpose to hide the part of his skull that's melted off due to injecting himself with determination. He does this to ensure that Sans and Frisk could not be frightened. Abilities. Geno has all of Undertale Sans' attacks and abilities, including bones, blasters, and teleporting. He can bring others into the save screen, but seemingly only when they are making contact with Sans. Due to his location in the save screen, he is unaffected by resets and can't die. It's unclear if this is due to an external factor or a new ability, but Geno can control glitches around his body, primarily to hide his melted head. With his large amount of determination, he can remember resets and erase the timeline if he is inside it. Relationships. Geno's relationship with Sans is complex. As they are technically parts of the same person, Geno does not care about Sans' well-being. However, he is not above manipulating Sans to get his way. Sans is an integral part of Geno's plan to erase the timeline, and as such, Gino is willing to do whatever it takes to win him over. But if Sans doesn't agree, Gino will erase his memory and reset his plan, or even torture him with past timelines. Frisk. His relationship with Frisk is also complicated. When Frisk first entered the save screen, Gino intended to kill him, or to come as close as he could within the save screen. However, he decided that they could be a useful tool to recruit Sans to his side, and spared them. After that, his relationship with Frisk seemed to be relatively good, with him allowing Frisk to play with his Gaster Blasters and hiding the melted portion of his skull to not scare them. It is unclear exactly how much of their relationship is faked by Gino to gain Sans' trust, but it would appear Gino saw his mercy as a second chance for Frisk, and an opportunity to repay them. Papyrus. Gino loves Papyrus, also to the point of mania. He wears Papyrus' scarf at all times, and refers to it as if it really was Papyrus sometimes, not allowing anyone else to lay a hand on it. He cares deeply for Papyrus, and his goal to erase the timelines is fueled by the belief that this is the only way to stop Papyrus's, and to a lesser extent, others' endless suffering. Chara. Gino hates Chara, holding them and Frisk equally responsible for the genocide runs and resets. His plan involves knocking them out before returning to the underground to erase the timeline. Fatal Error. Possibly future Gino. Fatal Error is a version of Gino that was killed by Error Sans, but due to him being unable to die at the save screen, he instead became even more corrupted and insane, causing him to start killing AU characters to make his own Papyrus. Gino Sans and Fatal Error Sans have not canonically met. Error Sans, also, possibly future Gino. Error Sans is a version of Gino that was thrown into the Anti-Void as a result of messing with his success determination after the ending of Aftertale. Error has no memory of his past as Gino, and as a result views him as nothing more than another anomaly. In the comic Fatal Error, Error attempts to kill Gino, but because you cannot die at the save screen, the code glitches, transforming him into Fatal Error. Epilogue. Prologue to Ask Error. After receiving his happy ending by the end of Aftertale, Gino receives glasses from Alphys. Eventually, through experimentation with his own determination, Gino sends himself to the Anti-Void. Through this, he slowly becomes an error, like all other beings who stay in the Anti-Void for too long. Once someone fully converts into an error, they lose a large part of who they are, but their personality as an error is determined by the nature of their final thoughts before they became an error. In Gino's case, those thoughts are one of regret, remorse, and bitterness for having done this to himself after receiving the happy ending he worked so hard to achieve, only to receive it by trusting in a more naive version of himself. Those thoughts caused him to hate quite literally everyone other than himself, making him miserable and lonely once his transformation was complete, and pushing him to hunt down every single AU to destroy them. In the end, he was his own undoing, although there are always other versions of him who got to live a happy life, and those that never got that chance. Likewise, there are versions of him who experienced something different entirely, such as Fatal Error. Okay, so there are other, according to this epilogue, there is other versions of Gino out there. And at the end of the Aftertale comic, he got the happy ending, finally. But he kind of experimented himself, like with Error, which we just read, and turned into an error at the Anti-Void. So, and apparently the personality they gained when they transform into an error is determined by their final thoughts and moments before they became an error. And that determines kind of like how bad and evil they are as an error. But, yeah. And, I'm gonna be leaving this vlog here. And, I hope you get, and I have Friday off tomorrow night, so I'm quite excited for that. I probably won't be recording a vlog right away because I'll be down in the basement playing for family Wii night, because Friday night tradition. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to reading another story for you guys, and I'll be seeing you tomorrow night. Goodbye, everybody.